Disney films are originated by old folk tale stories. Disney had to mix up the true stories but still make them into something enjoyable to watch. But today I'm going to be sharing what the actual stories behind 5 Disney films. Right before we jump into these true stories, if you're a Disney fan, be sure to hit that like button down below. So now let's begin. Snow White. Snow White is said to be, and look to be as a generous young lady, but the truth behind it all is that it's as if she's a lunatic, and she wanted revenge on her evil stepmother, the evil queen. In the kid-friendly film, Snow White is persuaded by her evil stepmom to eat a poisoned apple, and then she is awoken by a kiss from the Prince Charming. And now the tides have turned. The real story, the evil queen's punishment for trying to kill her stepdaughter, is tragic. Snow White goes on to force the evil queen to wear hot iron shoes and dance until she dies. Snow White truly did hate her stepmom. Frozen. The movie Frozen is about 2 orphan princesses who go by the name of Anna and Elsa. Their relationship isn't very strong because Elsa has magical ice powers and doesn't want to hurt Anna. And there was a big event going on. Elsa accidentally reveals her magical powers and ends up running away, and of course there is a happy ending to it. Elsa and Anna end up living happily ever after together. But that is the way Disney retold the story. Here, let's go over the true story. So the movie Frozen was based off a story called The Snow Queen. It's consisted of 2 people who go by the name of Gerda and Kai. And they're not sisters, they're actually just best friends who grew up right next to each other. One day, Kai gets kidnapped by the Snow Queen, and Gerda tries to go and save Kai from the Snow Queen. So the stories were actually fairly similar, but Frozen 1 was definitely much more happy ever after. The Jungle Book. For those of you who don't know the Disney film The Jungle Book, let me tell you how they present it. So it starts off by a young boy named Mowgli, and by the way, he is a human. The unique thing is that he was raised by a pack of wolves. Then his mother, aka the female wolf, ended up figuring out that there was some bad news in the jungle, and that there was a tiger that was eating humans. So she insisted that Mowgli went to a village with humans to get out of the danger. And he didn't want to leave, but then after some convincing, he left and found himself a woman. That sounds like a good old happy story now, didn't it? Well, that's not how the true story went. Once Mowgli ended up leaving, he actually never ended up adjusting to the human ways, because he was clearly raised by a pack of wolves. And that led him to not actually being attracted to the opposite sex, as in a woman. It is said that he was most likely attracted to wolves, which is definitely a big turn in events. The Princess and the Frog. The Princess and the Frog is about a young lady who is trying to become the top of the line waitress. But Tashiana ends up getting turned into a frog, but once she does end up becoming a frog, she ends up going on a long journey to help the prince, Naveen, and those two spend time together, and they fall in love, and the curse of the frog is reversed, and they live happily ever after. Now we have to move right on into the real story. So the movie The Prince and the Frog is actually based on a book called The Frog Princess, and that's based on a fairy tale called The Frog Prince. So in the original story, there's a frog that goes and tells the princess that he needs her help to get turned back into a human being. But the princess does not help him at all. She actually ends up picking him up and throwing him at the wall and ends up killing him. But what she didn't know is that was the prince, and he was a charming, elegant man. The Little Mermaid. The way the story of The Little Mermaid was portrayed by Disney is, a mermaid that goes by the name of Ariel ends up falling in love with the prince. And since she is a mermaid, she has no legs, which leads her to come to the conclusion that she would trade her voice for some legs. The prince did not care whether she could talk or not, which led the couple to end up living happily ever after together. In the real story, the mermaid ends up going and getting legs as well. But the twist is that when she walks, it's really painful, and the only way to cure the pain is if Prince Eric falls in love with Ariel. And not just that, but if Prince Eric does not fall in love with Ariel, she will die. So Prince Eric does fall in love with the girl, but the girl ends up not being Ariel, which leads Ariel to end up dying, and she turns into sea foam. But that was 5 true stories behind Disney films. Let us know down below which story was your favorite. Also comment saying what other videos you guys would like us to do in the future. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of these videos on Top 10 Videos. See you later, guys.